Welcome, nerds, to the music news for the week. This is a chunk taken out of the much larger full-length show over on the main channel, youtube.com/generallynerdy. Here in the music section, we like to talk about recent releases, upcoming releases, as well as tour dates being announced, festivals being announced, just regular music-associated news and the whatnot. This week in news, this stuff happened. So let's get into the music section, shall we? We do have some follow-ups here in the music section. The first one is one that I actually kind of got a little giddy when I heard it. The Foo Fighters have announced that they have a drummer, kind of. Josh Freese is the new drummer for the Foo Fighters, at least for the current set of touring that they have scheduled. Josh, if you don't remember, Josh played with Nine Inch Nails. Josh has played with Danny Elfman. Josh is kind of amazing. I believe he even played with Wes Borland on Black Light Burns, or not Black Light Burns. Yeah, no, Black Light Burns. I think it was Black Light Burns that he was playing with Wes Borland on. Don't quote me on that because I'm not remembering that one exactly, just kind of shooting from the hip. But still, Josh Freese is an excellent player, is an amazing drummer, is definitely a fantastic addition to the Foo Fighters. So I honestly kind of hope that he sticks around and maybe does an album or two. So that's what we got on that. Let's move next to Ed Sheeran is bringing up some more news, more awesomeness in the legal side of the music industry, which we don't see that very often. But a second lawsuit has just been dismissed against Ed Sheeran for the song Thinking Out Loud, as he is being sued for it kind of sort of resembling I honestly can't even remember the song that he's supposed to have been stealing. Let's Get It On. There we go. I did take the good notes this time. So Marvin Gaye's Let's Get It On is supposedly, the Marvin Gaye estate is suing Ed Sheeran because it supposedly sounds too similar, to which Ed Sheeran legitimately got up in the examination booth or whatever it's called in court and showed the musical theory behind where his song came from and why it legitimately does sound similar to Marvin Gaye's Let's Get It On. But then Marvin Gaye's Let's Get It On sounds like a dozen other songs that are older than it. So yeah, it was beautiful. It's amazing. Sheeran just kind of gave the entire music, as the performing side of the music industry, a giant W twice now with this lawsuit, because this is the second time he's been sued for the same thing, which is pretty great. So yeah, I did want to note in this the judge's closing statements, the published statements were as follows. There was an excerpt is as follows. Let me see if I can get to it. Here we go. It is an unassailable reality that the chord progression and harmonic rhythm in Let's Get It On are so commonplace in isolation and in combination that to protect their combination would give Let's Get It On an impermissible monopoly over a basic musical building block. Hooray for logic. Isn't that amazing? All right, so that's what we have for follow-ups and corrections in music this week. Let's get to some new music to talk about. New music, we have two new songs that are two new, kind of sort of three songs, but we'll get to that. First one is Mutoid Man. Mutoid Man is something of a supergroup of the outcast musical tastes. So Mutoid Man features members of High on Fire, Converge, and Cave In. All three great bands. If you've never heard of them and you really like aggressive music, check them out, especially Converge. Yeah, they're just great stuff. Mutoid Man released a new single called Call of the Void. It actually comes from a new record from the supergroup. This will be their first record with their new bass player. I believe he is the High on Fire edition. New album is due July 28th. It's called Mutants. This Mutoid Man song and the video that came out with it are great. The video is hilarious. The song is just like, it's like this weird, catchy, poppy, very subversive kind of sound that is exactly what I was in the mood to hear as soon as I put it on. So I'm super stoked that this is a thing that is happening, and I want more of it in my ears, please. As well should you. Go check out Mutoids Man, Call of the Void. It's pretty great. Next, we're talking about some new Dave Matthews Band music. I know we don't talk about Dave Matthews Band very often. I do have an appreciation for the good old DMB, though. That's about as close to a jam band as I ever got. But we specifically were talking about 2 songs, but he did release a new record this week. So the 2 songs that I listened to were Looking for a Vein and The Only Thing. The name of the new record is Walking Around the Moon. Came out on the 19th. This new stuff, according to the 2 songs that I've listened to off of this record that we are talking about right now, there is definitely shades of the Dave Matthews from the 90s, the Crash era Dave Matthews, where he kind of got insanely huge. But I feel like there's just a little bit too much of the modern Dave Matthews in here for me to fully appreciate it. Modern Dave Matthews puts his vocal over the rest of the instrumentation, whereas the pop stuff off of that Crash record was still, you know, upwards of 4 minutes. The 2 songs that I listened to off of this record both come in under 3 minutes and 30 seconds. So yeah, just a little too poppy for the Dave that I know and have an appreciation for. Still an amazing voice. Like, there's a reason why they highlight his voice in the mix so hard, but I feel like the rest of the band are incredible musicians as well, and they deserve highlight just as much as his voice does. So yeah, just not exactly what I wanted out of Dave Matthews, but still very listenable, very well done. If you like this kind of stuff, you will love this new record, I'm sure, and that's kind of all we got to say about that. So from there, let's go into some tours and festivals. We do have a very awesome festival just got announced this past week. In Flames every year does a festival called, I'm going to try and say this properly, but it's in Swedish, so I'm already apologizing. Dalhalla Brinner Festival. This year happens August 25th and 26th. It will be in Sweden. I didn't exactly see a city in Sweden, so I do apologize. The lineup for those 2 days are as follows. The 25th, we have In Flames, Killswitch Engage, Fit for an Autopsy, and Maul. Don't know Maul, but the rest of that lineup is incredible. And then we have on the 26th, obviously, In Flames again, Hypocrisy, Sylosis, and Horndal. Horndal. I don't know that band either, but Hypocrisy, Sylosis, both very, very incredible bands as well. So it sounds like if you are near the place that this is happening in Sweden, you are lucking out if you are a metalhead fan. Tickets, there are actually tickets available for this. You can follow the link down in the description if you are looking to get your Swedish metal on. From there, we have another tour announced. Fear Factory has announced a European tour with their new vocalist. This tour is going to show support from Butcher Babies and Ignea. Don't know Ignea, not a fan of Butcher Babies. Still very intrigued by the new vocalist of Fear Factory, but starts October 27th in Nottingham, UK, runs through December 16th in Helsinki, Finland. That's pretty crazy, but that is what we have for tours and festivals. So we got a couple of things. So from there, we go to Tool and the state of Florida. And there has been an update to this since the original reporting, and we didn't talk about it last week, so we're gonna do the original piece plus the update that came out, I believe, yesterday morning since I took these notes. But Maynard James Keenan took to the stage at the Welcome to Rockville Festival in Florida and came out on stage in drag, presumably because he was trying to protest the new law about drag shows and how children are not legally allowed to attend a drag show. The definition of a drag show we'll get into in just a moment. But so Maynard has come out again since the initial reporting on this incident, said, I wasn't protesting anything. That's just kind of who I am, which makes a lot more sense to me now because Maynard is a very intelligent person. So for him to protest in such a manner seems highly uninformed because, let's get into this, the way a drag show is defined by the law in the state of Florida is as follows. Any show, exhibition, or other presentation in front of a live audience which in whole or in part depicts or simulates nudity, sexual conduct, sexual excitement, or specific sexual activities that includes lewd contact or the lewd exposure of prosthetic or imitation genitals or breasts, unquote. So, basically a strip show. It's cabaret, right? So most drag shows, and I've been to a drag show. I think I've been to more than just the one, but only one of them's coming to mind. I've been to drag shows in the past. Not something that's new to me, not something that I'm really uncomfortable with at all. But I would not take anybody under, honestly, I would not take anybody under the age of 25 to a drag show just because certain things in the brain that just like don't fully understand what's going on as far as like the social implications or the larger picture of things until you're into your 20s. So honestly, I would be really apprehensive to take anybody under the age of 25, definitely nobody under the age of 21 to a drag show that is a cabaret. There is a difference between people dressing in drag and performing a thing like say music and a quote-unquote drag show, which is cabaret. You would not take children to a straight cabaret show because there's very probably going to be nudity and sexually explicit content and so on and so forth, etc., etc. Same thing applies on the other side of that coin. So when I saw that Maynard was protesting by dressing in drag to perform music, it was like, how does somebody with such a high IQ not understand the difference between dressing in drag and performing a show and performing a drag, quote-unquote, drag show? And apparently he does, because he said, that's not what I was doing at all. I'm just a weirdo. Definitely paraphrasing. So yeah, that's interesting, super awesome. The other piece that we have to talk about for music news is Placebo. I was supposed to go see Placebo this last week, and I didn't because they canceled the show like an hour before it was supposed to start. An hour before doors were supposed to open, so an hour and a half roughly before the actual show was supposed to start. No real explanation was given, just sickness in the band, but if it was a sickness, then presumably, I don't know everything, so I could be wrong, and if it legitimately is something that all of the sudden just onset sickness, then my heart goes out and I hope they're feeling better or whatever. But presumably, what happened, if you were sick, then you would know many hours ahead of time. Like you wake up and go, oh my God, I can't breathe, or oh my God, my head feels like it's going to explode, or my bowels feel like they're going, something along the lines. But that, an hour. So in the state of Colorado, right now, we are covered in smoke that has come down from Canada. Thank you very much, Linus Tech Tips. As our air quality is suboptimal. The band Placebo also does not like to be in the States. And so the assumption on our side, on the fans' side of things is, well, they were looking for a reason to cancel the show, and they got it because lead vocalist, head songwriter, the artist type person in charge of the band, I can't think of his name and I apologize, but got up on stage and I got the black lung pop, and then show canceled. So it was unfortunate. We'll get into greater detail in the That Just Happened show for this week, but that, Placebo didn't happen, and so yeah, we have to move right along. As it pertains to Daft Punk. Daft Punk, if you remember, not so long ago, broke up, called it quits, are retiring from the music industry, but then they released new music. What's going on here? It's not exactly new music, and it's not exactly a brand new album. What we got is Random Access Memories, which was the last record that they produced. Random Access Memories is 10 years old, and that makes me feel old. But it's the anniversary edition re-release of the album. It is a 2-disc set. I put Daft Punk back in the top 40 on Billboard, which is awesome because they deserve. I'm very surprised when stuff like this just doesn't stay there for years and years, but it has been a decade, so I can't be too mad at it. But so put them in the top 40 once again. Also on this new record, on this new version of Random Access Memories, like I said, there's an extra disc of new music. Not all, none of it is actually new music. A lot of it is like outtakes and alternate versions of things, but we did get one proper new song that was recorded at the time of Random Access Memories, just didn't make it onto the record. So if you are interested in listening to it, which I have yet to get my grubby little mitts on, but I do plan on it because Daft Punk is amazing, yeah, then you can go pick up the 10-year anniversary edition. And from what I have heard, again, haven't listened to any of the actual music, but from all of the reporting I have read on this, the bonus material is basically a new record's worth of music because some of the alternate takes are so different that they might as well be a completely different song. So that's pretty awesome. Very excited about that. We will probably be talking about that in the That Just Happened show as soon as, that happens as far as my ears are concerned. That is what we have for regular ass news. So let's jump into suggestions for music this week. I went a little old school on you, some 90s alt punk, and that is Eve 6, alt rock punk, whatever the hell you want to call them. Eve 6, Horoscope specifically, their second big record. Didn't go with the Inside Out record because it's just a little overplayed, but Horoscope is one of the, so in the 90s, a lot of bands put out a lot of great singles, and then kind of a lot of filler on their records as well. Horoscope is not an example of that. This record is solid from front to back. If you like some radio-friendly, though lyrically challenging stuff, then definitely Eve 6 is the way to go. It's very bright, it's upbeat. There are some draggy tunes on there, but that's purposeful. It's called dynamics, people. Learn it. Yeah, absolutely love this record. Listen to it probably twice in the last week, and you should do the same because it is worth your time. Go check out Eve 6 Horoscope this week as your music suggestion. Once again, this is just the music section. There is a much longer show called The Week in Nerddom over on the main channel, youtube.com/generallynerdy. Go check out the entire show or just subscribe here and do all of the things. Appreciate your faces, nerds. Before we go though, always remember that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here.